Imagine a narrow waterway, a slender ribbon of blue squeezed between arid, rocky coastlines. This is not just any passage, it is a lifeline for nations, a gateway that connects the vast oil fields of the Middle East to the rest of the world. At its tightest point, this strait is just 21 miles wide, so narrow that, on a clear day, you can see from one side to the other. Yet through this slim corridor, a staggering amount of the world's energy supply must pass every single day. This is the Strait of Hormuz, a critical artery for global energy. Every year, billions of barrels of oil and trillions of cubic feet of natural gas are shipped through these waters, making it one of the most strategically significant places on Earth. In fact, nearly a fifth of the world's oil, and a significant portion of its liquefied natural gas, flow through this narrow passage. The economies of Asia, Europe, and beyond depend on the uninterrupted movement of these resources. The strait's importance is truly global. Any fluctuation in its stability can send shockwaves through international markets, affecting gasoline prices, heating costs, and even the price of everyday goods. But the Strait of Hormuz is more than just an economic lifeline. It is a geopolitical flashpoint, a place where the interests of powerful nations collide and regional rivalries simmer just below the surface. Iran, which borders the strait to the north, has long used its position to exert influence and pressure. Its adversaries, including Israel, the United States, and Gulf Arab states, closely monitor every move, adding layers of tension and uncertainty. Warships from multiple nations patrol these waters daily, escorting oil tankers and maintaining a delicate balance of power. The presence of so many military vessels in such a confined space means that even a small incident could quickly escalate. Any disruption, whether from conflict, sabotage, or a blockade, could have catastrophic consequences. Global supply chains would be thrown into chaos, and economies could face severe downturns as energy prices skyrocket. As of June 2025, understanding the strait's role is more crucial than ever. With shifting alliances and new technologies, the risks and stakes continue to evolve. The Middle East's ongoing tensions, political, religious, and economic, place the strait in a precarious position. Every decision made by leaders in this region can have ripple effects felt around the globe. Imagine a sudden blockade, fuel shortages, soaring prices at the pump, and economic hardships spreading far beyond the region. The impact would touch every aspect of our daily lives, from transportation to food production. This exploration is vital to grasp the fragility of our interconnected world. The Strait of Hormuz is a reminder that what happens in one narrow waterway can affect billions of people across continents. Stability in this region is urgently needed. Only through cooperation, diplomacy, and vigilance can we ensure that this vital choke point remains open, keeping the world's energy and economies flowing. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow but immensely important waterway, acting as a vital link between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, which then opens out into the vast Arabian Sea. This slender channel, only about 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, serves as the only sea passage from the oil-rich Persian Gulf to the open ocean, making it one of the most strategically significant maritime routes in the world. The strait physically separates Iran on the north from Oman and the United Arab Emirates on the south. Its unique geography forms a natural choke point, where the land masses nearly touch, creating a narrow corridor that all ships must pass through. This makes the Strait of Hormuz a focal point for both regional and global security concerns. Every day, hundreds of vessels, including some of the world's largest oil tankers, navigate this tight passage. The strait is absolutely crucial for the transport of oil and natural gas, serving as a lifeline for the global energy market. In fact, about 1/5 of the world's total oil supply, millions of barrels each day, flows through the Strait of Hormuz, making it the single most important oil transit choke point on the planet. Additionally, nearly a third of all liquefied natural gas traded globally passes through this narrow waterway, highlighting its critical role in meeting the world's growing energy demands. Major economies such as China, Japan, and India are heavily dependent on these shipments for their energy security and economic growth. Any disruption here could have immediate and far-reaching consequences for these nations and beyond. Because of its immense strategic value, the Strait of Hormuz is constantly patrolled by military forces. The presence of naval ships from the United States, the United Kingdom, and other global powers is a regular sight, all aiming to ensure the free flow of commerce and protect vital shipping lanes. Control over this narrow passage means having significant leverage over the global economy. Even rumors of instability or conflict in the strait can send oil prices soaring and unsettle financial markets worldwide. To safeguard this vital artery, the US and its allies maintain a strong naval presence, conducting regular patrols and escort missions to deter threats and ensure freedom of navigation for all commercial vessels. However, this heavy military presence also raises the risk of confrontation, especially with Iran, which views the strait as a critical national interest and has, at times, threatened to close it in response to international tensions. The strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz makes it a potential flashpoint for conflict, where even minor incidents can escalate into major international crises. Ultimately, the stability of the Strait of Hormuz is essential for the uninterrupted flow of energy to the world. Its security is not just a regional issue, but a matter of global economic stability and peace. The Strait of Hormuz's tension is tied to the Israel-Iran conflict. This shadow war involves proxies, cyber attacks, and covert operations. Both nations view each other as existential threats. The conflict extends to the maritime domain, affecting shipping security. Attacks on vessels linked to both countries create fear and uncertainty. Iran's support for anti-Israel groups and Israel's strikes on Iranian targets fuel animosity. A miscalculation could escalate into a broader regional war. The strait sits at the epicenter of this potential fallout. The Israel-Iran conflict threatens the Strait of Hormuz's stability. Iran's military capability allows it to disrupt the strait. The IRGC Navy is equipped for asymmetric warfare in this environment. Iran could retaliate by targeting shipping, creating chaos and economic pain. Shipping companies face skyrocketing insurance costs and potential de facto blockades. Oil flow would slow, impacting global markets and causing price spikes. Military action in the strait risks civilian vessels and environmental disasters. The strait's narrow geography makes it a tinderbox for conflict. A small spark could ignite a massive fire. The strait's stability is crucial for global economic and environmental security. Preventing conflict here is a global imperative. The Strait of Hormuz's vulnerability stems from its geography. Its narrow lanes make ships easy targets for disruption. Iran's mountainous coastline provides cover for military operations. The strait is an asymmetric battlefield, with Iran using swarm tactics. Iran's anti-ship missiles and sea mines pose significant threats. The strait's strategic value makes it a point of leverage for Iran. Threatening the strait is a powerful deterrent against foreign attacks. The strait's importance creates constant tension and instability. High traffic density increases the risk of accidents and miscalculations. A simple mechanical failure could block the channel for days. In a tense climate, accidents could trigger rapid escalation. The strait's fragility demands careful management and diplomacy. Its stability is vital for global energy security. A closure of the Strait of Hormuz would spike oil prices. Fear and speculation would drive panic buying and price surges. The impact would be felt globally, with soaring gasoline and diesel costs. Families and businesses would face devastating financial pressures. Countries reliant on imported oil would experience severe energy crises. Even oil-producing nations like the US would face higher prices. The interconnected global economy means no country is immune. A prolonged closure would force a scramble for alternative energy sources. Pipelines bypassing the strait offer limited relief. Strategic reserves provide temporary support, but are not long-term solutions. The crisis highlights our dependence on a single, vulnerable region. Reducing this dependence is crucial for global stability. The strait's stability is essential for economic security. A prolonged closure of the Strait of Hormuz would send shockwaves through the global economy, triggering a depression on a scale not seen in modern history. The world's reliance on this narrow waterway for oil and gas shipments means that even a temporary disruption could have catastrophic consequences for every continent. Energy shortages would bring manufacturing to a standstill, halting production lines and causing supply chains to unravel. Factories would go dark, ports would be clogged with idle containers, and the movement of goods would grind to a halt, affecting everything from electronics to food supplies. The resulting crisis would dwarf previous economic downturns, including the 2008 financial crash. Stock markets would plummet, currencies would destabilize, and the world could face a prolonged period of recession and uncertainty. Social and political instability would surge as millions lose their jobs. Unemployment lines would stretch for blocks, and public anger could spill into the streets, leading to widespread protests and unrest in both developed and developing nations. Developing countries already vulnerable would be hit hardest. Food shortages would become common, and humanitarian crises could erupt as basic necessities become scarce and prices soar beyond reach for many families. The crisis would also reshape global power dynamics. Nations with energy reserves or alternative supplies would gain influence, while others would scramble to secure new alliances and resources, potentially empowering authoritarian regimes. A sudden forced shift away from fossil fuels would be chaotic and inefficient. While the world would accelerate investment in renewables, the transition would be rushed, costly, and fraught with technical and logistical challenges. Military intervention to reopen the strait would be a last resort, fraught with complexity and immense risk. Any miscalculation could escalate into a broader conflict, drawing in major world powers. The nightmare scenario is a regional war, with devastating consequences for millions. Such a conflict could destabilize the entire Middle East and send shockwaves far beyond the region. The closure of the strait would inflict unimaginable human and economic costs, leaving families, businesses, and entire nations struggling to recover for years to come. Preventing this scenario demands urgent diplomatic efforts and a global commitment to diversifying energy sources. Only through cooperation and innovation can we reduce our vulnerability to such crises. The stability of the Strait of Hormuz is not just a regional issue, it is a shared global responsibility, requiring vigilance and collaboration from all nations. The peace and stability of this vital waterway are crucial for the world's future. Protecting it means safeguarding prosperity, security, and hope for generations to come. Preventing conflict in the Strait of Hormuz is a global priority. Diplomacy is key to keeping the strait open and stable. Engaging Iran in negotiations is essential for reducing tensions. A new diplomatic framework must address nuclear and regional issues. De-escalation between Israel and Iran requires back-channel communication. The US must encourage restraint and prevent attacks on shipping. Long-term stability requires reducing reliance on Middle Eastern oil. Transitioning to renewable energy is a generational project. Diversifying energy sources is crucial for global security. The strait's stability is vital for a safer, more stable world. The Strait of Hormuz symbolizes our interconnected, fragile world. Its geopolitical tensions threaten global economic stability. A conflict here would trigger a global economic crisis. Gas prices would skyrocket, and economies would fall into recession. The resulting instability could unravel the international order. Preventing conflict requires patient, pragmatic diplomacy. De-escalating tensions between Iran and its adversaries is crucial. A military confrontation would be catastrophic for all. Diversifying energy sources is essential for long-term stability. The strait's fate is a shared, global responsibility. Its peace matters to everyone, everywhere. The challenges of one region can become global crises. The strait's stability is vital for the 21st century's future.